storied history with Justin Fields. I don't know if you know this about us, but I've been a long-time Trey Lance fanboy. I may or may not have said Trey Lance is much better than Justin Fields in fantasy football for a very long time. I may have to take my L. I may or may not have clowned on the Chicago Bears for a couple of years now. I may or may not have said that they may not get exactly what they want for the number one overall pick. I take it all back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I take it all back. I can't believe they got this much in return. I figured with the draft class the way it was, where in my mind, of course, I'm not an NFL talent evaluator. I don't know what's going on. I viewed it as there were about 3 quarterbacks that were kind of all the same. Maybe it's like, oh, do you want Bryce Young? Do you want CJ Stroud? But I didn't think that there was that solidified top prospect like we had with, say, Trevor Lawrence in 2021. I didn't think that you had that generational of a player where the Bears would be able to pull this off. The Bears just went through, and let me pull this up for everybody just in case you have not had the chance to see. It is ridiculous, but they traded the number 1 overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. They received pick 9. They received a 2024 first. Give me 1 second to pull this up. They received DJ Moore. They received, let me pull it up for you. Oh, dear God, I'm sorry. Searching Panthers here. There are Bears on Twitter. I'm all over the place. This has just been one of the most wild things I've seen in a long time. Here we go. 961, a future first, a future second, and DJ Moore. I'm a fan of DJ Moore. I'm a DJ Moore fanboy. Okay, I'm surprised that he was included in this deal. I figured that that would not really be an option if we were going to be honest. I'm interested to talk about a couple different things. A, what does this do for Justin Fields and his fantasy value? I have been hesitant to draft Justin Fields as of late with where he's been going. I will say I'm probably wrong on that front. We probably need to be drafting Justin Fields now aggressively. On top of this, what are the Panthers doing at number 1? Who are they so confident in? Is it CJ Stroud? Is that who they are taking at number 1? We've seen the Vegas odds change. We've seen a lot of new mock drafts going through and saying that the Panthers were going to trade up to number 1, that they were going to be taking CJ Stroud here. Like I said, I'm not an NFL talent evaluator. I don't know if CJ Stroud's worth this kind of compensation or he's not. I figured maybe you stick at 9 and see if you get Will Levis falling to you. I don't know how much better CJ Stroud is than Will Levis, but I mean, if we're going to be looking at the 2 quarterbacks and saying you're also going to get pick 61, a future first, a future second, and DJ Moore, maybe you just take the chance on the guy you think's a little bit worse, but give him much better weapons. Let me know what you're thinking in the live chat. What I want to do right now is I actually want to go through and hop in an underdog draft as we talk through this, as we think about it, to see the immediate changes that we are going to have in fantasy football value. So, of course, we're pulling up underdog here. Let's go over, and if you want to get in this draft with us, you can. It's going to be a big board draft, $10 buy-in, $1 million prize pool, and actually, it's full right away, okay? So, we were waiting for one more person in here, but we are full. And, of course, if you want to get in an underdog draft with us going forward, promo code FLOCK, they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. And on top of it, you can go draft Justin Fields today. Available in damn near pretty much every state. We're at the 103. So it will be interesting in that Justin Fields, up until this point, has been going at the end of the 3rd round of these drafts. We may have the potential to take him at the end of the 2nd, the beginning of the 3rd, if we choose to. And like I said, I think that we probably should be moving him up to that elite quarterback range. Because if I go through and pull up Justin Fields, I have been hypercritical of Justin Fields, as y'all know. That's primarily from, I don't want to make any excuses. I've been hypercritical of Justin Fields. I've talked a lot of crap about Justin Fields. And I will say, if we pull up what he did through the first 2 years, the man has 24 passing touchdowns, 21 interceptions. The man has more fumbles than rushing touchdowns. The man has averaged 152 passing yards per game. But, we'll also throw in the fact 6.2 adjusted yards per pass attempt. Justin Fields has been very bad from a real life NFL standpoint. But to be fair to Justin Fields, if I am going to give him his credit, which I'm trying to do in this live stream right now, bear with me. The man has more rushing upside than any other quarterback in fantasy football, demonstrated by what we saw a year ago. Not only does he have more rushing upside than anybody else in fantasy football, but at the same time, he has had nothing in Chicago for a very long time. Ever since he was drafted, I've been hypercritical of the Chicago Bears organization. I don't think that they're a well-run team. I mean, I'm very impressed with what they were able to do right now, but they've surrounded them with some of the worst talent you are ever going to find in the NFL, with wide receiver, tight end, running back. Offensive line hasn't even been good. Like, Justin Fields has been probably one of the least talented rosters in the entire NFL. Now, like I said, he's been very bad from a real life perspective, but if I'm giving him his credit, that's a solid excuse. And now if we're going to be looking at the capital that the Chicago Bears have to work with, automatically, DJ Moore is the best wide receiver that Justin Fields has ever played with. Maybe I've overrated DJ Moore in the past. I'll be the first person to admit that, but automatically, DJ Moore is the best guy that's ever been on a Justin Fields roster in terms of NFL. I mean, he played at Ohio State. There's some pretty damn good Ohio State wide receivers. We don't need to talk about that, but from an NFL standpoint. And also, if we are going to be looking at those additional weapons, at 9, how surprised would you be if the Chicago Bears said, you know what, we're going all in. We're going to look to figure it out with Justin Fields. He's either our guy or he isn't. Let's take Quentin Johnston at 9. Let's pair up Quentin Johnston and DJ Moore. Give Justin Fields no excuses. The excuses are over, and give him some real weapons for the first time ever. I don't know if he'll succeed from a real life standpoint. I still have my questions about Justin Fields from a real life standpoint. But from a fantasy football standpoint, if he were to get those weapons, and instead of averaging 150 passing yards a game, all of a sudden that number goes to 200, instead of him going through and having, 24 passing touchdowns in 25 games started, instead of scoring less than a touchdown, passing touchdown a game, he maybe starts scoring 1.5 passing touchdowns per game. The ceiling may be a lot higher than what we've seen up until this point. So, as the resident, I would classify myself Justin Fields hater. I'm going to be fair. It is difficult for me to paint this in any other light outside of my initial reaction being the Chicago Bears just made a great trade, a phenomenal trade. Not only did the Chicago Bears make a phenomenal trade, but this will be the first time that you actually have Justin Fields set up with a chance to succeed in Chicago. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, if we're going to be looking at the Carolina Panthers, I don't really see how any quarterback they take is going to be given a fair shake, because it's a coaching staff I don't think too many people are excited about. This is a team that now no longer has their wide receiver 1 in DJ Moore. They don't have their number 1 weapon from last year in Christian McCaffrey. They traded him away. And now they don't have really any assets to play around with. They traded a second-round pick to go out there and get this number 1 overall selection. They traded pick 9 to go get this. They traded their 2024 first to go get this. So what do they have left over? Who are they going to be surrounding, say, CJ Stroud with? Just in case it's CJ Stroud, we're going to put that name out there. CJ Stroud's going to be walking into a Carolina offense that has Terrace Marshall as the wide receiver 1. Even if they're able to go out there and say, bring in the best free agent wide receiver this offseason in DJ Chark, what does that really do for you? And it's not as easy as saying, okay, well, we'll get him a wide receiver next year. How are you getting a wide receiver next year? You don't have a first. You don't have a second. So we're looking at Laviska Shenault, Terrace Marshall, Deontay Foreman. Can't even remember who the tight end in Carolina is. With no picks going forward and no real picks outside of what you are getting with presumably CJ Stroud at number 1 overall. Nolan says Panthers going for that 8-year process. I don't exactly know what the Panthers are going for. My initial reaction is great for Chicago, very, very bad for Carolina. But let me know what you are thinking in the live chat real quick. And also, if you have not done so already, drop a like on this live stream. Let me know what you're thinking in the live chats And if you want to get in the next draft with us, we do these drafts constantly. Underdog Fantasy, best ball, no time commitment whatsoever during the season. Your best starting lineup is automatically submitted for you each and every week. At the end of the week, no waiver wire because we're drafting 20 rounds here. So go, link in the description, link in the comment section, promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit, dollar for dollar, 200. To my mind, nothing more fun to do and available in damn near every state. We're going to go T Higgins here at 22. Okay, but let me see. Yeah, it seems like most people are right there with me in saying that the Bears won this. Yeah, Panthers got fleeced. Bears W. Fields officially quarterback one for fantasy. Let's go. DJ Moore is still going to be bad for fantasy, though. That's one thing we haven't talked about. This is bad for DJ Moore. I want to put that out there, okay? The Chicago Bears just had the worst passing offense in the NFL since like 2009 this past season. They will be much better going forward, but even if they are much better, they're still going to be very bad, okay, from a passing volume perspective. Like I said, I just spent the first 10 minutes giving Justin Fields and the Bears their credit, but there will still be very little passing volume to go around here in Chicago, so don't get too excited about DJ Moore. DJ Moore, in my mind, this is a bad move for him, especially considering the fact that the Chicago Bears may go out there and invest in the wide receiver position again. So DJ Moore definitely takes a hit. I agree with that. I mean, while I do think that this is the first time Fields been set up for success, I don't know if Fields is going to have success. I think he'll have fantasy football success because of his rushing upside, but I still kind of stand by the fact that I think he's a bad real-life quarterback, but like I said, giving him his fair credit. I think we did that in the first 10 minutes of this. Just not good for DJ Moore. Not good at all. Now, Gage says, Chicago needs to find themselves some offensive line, but anyone hating on Fields is just downright goofy. The Chicago Bears had the number 1 overall pick for a reason this year, my friend. I mean, there have been very bad teams that good quarterbacks have dragged to be better than the worst team in football. But Mondo says, so what are we selling Terrace Marshall for before the draft? We'll be interested to see where Terrace Marshall goes in this underdog draft in particular. I mean, I don't think you're going to get anything for Terrace Marshall, regardless of if it's going to be a best ball on underdog or regardless of if it's going to be, say, Dynasty. Like Dynasty, you're not getting a second round pick for him. Maybe you can get an early third. But like, I don't think we need to worry about Terrace Marshall here. Terrace Marshall has no value one way or another. Braden says, is this PPR standard? So underdog, all drafts are half PPR. Like I said, it is going to be best ball as well as a half PPR best ball draft on underdog. We do these every single week. We did over 700 of these last year. Promo code FLOCK, link in the description and comment section. But Mob says, so Sam Darnold is better than Fields is what he's saying. He was saying that. Ungo Fresh says, should I sell DJ Moore? I would say if you can find, okay, well, this team here at 12 takes DJ Moore at 36. Let me tell you the players I'd rather have over DJ Moore here. I'd probably rather have Christian Watson over DJ Moore if I'm going to be honest with you in best ball. Probably rather have Pittman over him. I'd rather have Najee Harris over him. I'd rather have Lamar Jackson over him. I probably would rather have Joe Burrow over him. Yeah, there are a decent amount of players I'd actually rather have over DJ Moore where DJ Moore goes this early. I think DJ Moore should actually be closer to this like Chris Godwin, JSN range, maybe like in line with Terry McLaurin. So if this is the new price point of DJ Moore going at pick 36, yeah, I'd probably be selling him there. Okay. Jimmy says Jacobs fell a lot in this draft. Yeah, 33 Jacobs in these underdog drafts usually goes about, say, pick 27 to 30. The picks that usually go behind Josh Jacobs are Calvin Ridley, Deebo Samuel, and then maybe mix in Travis Etienne. Okay. Lax says, I'd say keep DJ Moore. Fields' arm is underrated. He has a lot. He has to run a lot because he has no weapons, but college man's had an arm. If that's going to be the main sentiment for a lot of people, and like I said, I try to spend the first half of this giving Justin Fields his credit and the Chicago Bears their credit. I think the Chicago Bears made a phenomenal trade. I think Justin Fields will be very good from a fantasy football standpoint this next year as he has much better weapons than he's ever seen. But if the common narrative is this is good for DJ Moore, I will be selling DJ Moore. Hey, I would definitely be selling DJ Moore on that front. Okay, so Christian Watson goes. So at this point, we're going to take Najee Harris. That's an easy selection for me to get Najee Harris at 46. Now, let's see who we're getting on the way back around. I'm assuming that we're going to be going with a wide receiver at the beginning of the 5th round here. Judy goes 47. Oh, sorry. It just got a lot going on. I'm just so surprised by this trade. Like, I really didn't think that the Bears were going to find a deal like that. I know that's what they were wanting. I know that's what every Bears fan was wanting. I didn't know that they were going to be able to pull it off, though. So if we just think of drafts now, maybe you're going to end up seeing Stroud 1, Young 2, and like Will Anderson 3. I don't know. Who do y'all think? Please, everybody spam the chat right now. We have 600 people here. Everybody spam the chat. Let's get 600 messages. Who do you think the Panthers are picking at 1? Who are the Panthers going with? I kind of think CJ Stroud. If I have to go through and have some random guess, I think CJ Stroud's going to go to the Carolina Panthers, and then he is going to miserably fail because he will have one of the worst rosters in football with no assets. Like, it's going to be ugly. Okay, let's read the chat. We have Richardson, Stroud, Young, Stroud, Richardson, Stroud, Richardson, Young, Stroud, Richardson, Young, Richardson, Young, Stroud, Young, Stroud. So it sounds like most people are thinking that they are going to end up going with Bryce Young there. I don't know. I don't know really much about it. I've heard most NFL talent evaluators talking about how they prefer Bryce Young over CJ Stroud, but at the same time, I've heard some people saying that the Carolina Panthers coaching staff, they want a big quarterback. They're not taking a small one. I don't freaking know. I mean, I think we're just guessing at this point, but what's interesting is I feel like this information will get quote unquote leaked very soon. Definitely way before the NFL draft, because there will be no reason for the Panthers to go out there and hide what they're doing. They're already so pot committed to take whichever quarterback that they were wanting. They traded up with a guy in mind. It's not like they're like, oh, okay, well, we like Levis, we like Richardson, we like Young, we like Stroud. No, they traded up because they liked one guy in particular, and they are getting one guy. And they paid a price to guarantee that they are getting that number one guy. So I feel like they have no reason not to like let the beans spill and kind of tell us what they're doing. At least in my mind, is what I'm thinking. Okay. Dan says, I want to see Richardson in Vegas. I mean, yeah, I think Vegas would actually be a much better landing spot than whoever Carolina's going to be taking. I mean, if you're going to Vegas, you have Devontae Adams, you have a good run game, and you have a team that just didn't sacrifice every future asset to move up to 1. Bernab says, what is Terrace Marshall worth now? We're going to see where Terrace Marshall goes in this draft. Terrace Marshall up until this point has been like an 18th round selection. I mean, the thing is, I want to say, obviously, the Panthers are going to invest into the wide receiver room. But at the same time, how? Like, realistically speaking, what are the Panthers going to be able to do at wide receiver? They still have a second-round pick. Maybe they go take Zay Flowers, take Josh Downs. There's really no free agent class. What do they have to trade to go get like someone like T. Higgins now? I don't know if they have anything to give. 13 cents says Panthers going to suck next year. A 2024 first going to be juicy. Yeah. I'll say the Bears are most likely going to have 2 top 10 picks in next year's draft. If I was a betting man, I'd say it's very likely. They have 2 top 10 picks. Okay. So let's move this down. Lockett going off the board. We have a balanced team. We have Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, Cooper Kupp, T. Higgins, and Christian Kirk here. Now, Jalen Burke's going at 68. Okay, so do we just go ahead and take our 4th? I think we are going to go ahead and we're going to take Brandon Ayuk here, because if we're going to be looking at the running backs coming back around to us, I mean, we have so many different names that we could look at, whereas after Ayuk, I feel like we are going to have that teardrop at wide receiver, where I'm kind of fine just getting any of these RBs. We'll just see who they leave us. And we already have Derrick Henry and Najee Harris as well, so if we wanted to go wide receiver, we can. What do y'all think the Bears are going to do with pick 9? Let me look at NFL mock draft database to look at some big boards here. Consensus big boards. Okay, here's consensus. NFL mock draft database just essentially combines every mock draft that they see and averages out, kind of like fantasy football ADP. Young, Anderson, Stroud, Jalen Carter, Wilson, Gonzalez, Richardson, Witherspoon. Did they go Paris Johnson and grab a tackle? Reach on to Quentin Johnston. And Quentin Johnston, as well as DJ Moore, in my mind, that would be a natural fit. I think that those 2 players would complement each other nicely. Okay, we're actually going to mix it up here a bit. We may end up going Quentin Johnston. Yeah, we are. I was actually taking Jordan Addison before Quentin Johnston before the NFL draft. I'm sorry, NFL Combine, sorry. But with Jordan Addison weighing 173 pounds, it's going to be a little more difficult for me to make the argument that he is the guy we want over Johnston. We're going to go Johnston here. Okay. Ada says, I hope the Bears get Bijan. The Bears taking a running back at 9, even though, you know, hook 'em horns. I love our guy Bijan Robinson. Would be very, very bad, but at the same time, it sounds very much like the Chicago Bears. So I wouldn't be too surprised. Now, Tyler Algier going off the board here, pick 80. Houdat says, mortgaged their future for a quarterback that's probably going to fail and no wide receivers to throw to. Enjoy the seller. Yeah. The thing is, with the Panthers' point of view, very easily, maybe they see Stroud or Bryce Young as a very good quarterback, and maybe they're right. Maybe Bryce Young, maybe CJ Stroud is a very good quarterback. They are very capable QBs, whoever they may end up liking. But I think there are probably a ton of quarterbacks that could have been very good in the NFL that went to a very bad organization with a very bad roster that could not develop and ended up flaming out. Like, even if Young is a phenomenal quarterback prospect, just play the hypothetical. Maybe we have 2 different outcomes. Maybe Bryce Young, say, falls in the draft a little bit, goes to maybe Indianapolis at 4, and then all of a sudden he is able to thrive. He's playing on a team that has some talent that, historically speaking, has been well run top to bottom. And yeah, he can have success there. They can get him some weapons in year 2, blah, 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 blah. Whereas now, if you go at 1 to Carolina with no weapons, with coaching staff we don't necessarily believe in, with at the same time, no potential to bring in those weapons next year because you traded those assets, I don't know, maybe in that scenario he fails and people view him as a bust just because he never had a real shot. I don't know. Ryan says, how is Indy that much better than Carolina? First off, let me introduce you to someone named Jonathan Taylor, my friend. Now, I am a University of Texas Longhorn. I want to sit here and say that, if they re-sign Deontay Foreman's going to be as comparable to Jonathan Taylor. We're not fooling anybody there. Okay, first off, we'll introduce him. Second off, I would way rather have Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce than Terrace Marshall and Laviska Shenault. I'd way rather also have a team with a 2024 first that's able to go out there and make some plays and a 2024 second that's able to go out there and make some plays than a team that has none. So, yeah, if you're trying to sit here and tell me Carolina's a better franchise with a better situation for a quarterback to step into than Indianapolis, I am not going to take that argument seriously. Okay, so let's swing this back around. There's one player I've just been drafting a ton of. I'm not even a big fan of his game, but it's like the same price point you were getting a year ago, and at the James Cook goes. Okay, never mind. So if we're thinking about this, most likely Alvin Kamara gets suspended. Most likely Alvin Kamara is going to be bad this upcoming season. And yes, that's priced in. We're taking him at pick 94. This is a $10 underdog draft with a $1 million prize pool. So really the main thing that we're going to be looking at is ceiling. And yeah, maybe 80% of the time Alvin Kamara is a bust with this pick. But if 20% of the time Alvin Kamara can go back to being Alvin Kamara from 2 years ago, then that's a pick that wins you your league here. I don't really see how Jacoby Myers, who goes right after him, ever really wins you your league. So I'm willing to take the swing, even if a decent amount of times when we're taking the swing here, we are going to just strike out. Okay. John says Panthers will go out for Odell. I wouldn't say that's a good thing in particular, because if you think about it this way, if Odell Beckham Jr. has any juice left, right? If Odell is still talented, if Odell is going to get the job done, we're going to take Trey Lance here, stack him with Brandon Ayuk. If Odell's still good, which we don't know, I can't go and watch Odell run routes. I don't know how he recovered from his second torn ACL in like 14 months. But if he is good, why the hell would he ever go to the Carolina Panthers? I'm sure you would just circle the country trying out for a bunch of different teams and go, okay, where do we want to go? Do I want to go to Kansas City? Do I want to go to Buffalo? If he goes to Carolina, that tells us Odell's washed. Okay, if his only option is to go to the Carolina Panthers, then probably don't even want him because he's probably not good if the Chiefs didn't get him. Okay. Now, Tyler says that number 9 pick needs to be used on the best offensive lineman available. If DJ Moore wasn't involved, maybe you could consider using the pick on the preferred wide receiver, probably JSN with the Ohio State connection. Couple things. I would say JSN's probably not in line, even though JSN's my wide receiver 1, right? You hear me talking about Quentin Johnston, possibly that pick at 9. Even if JSN's my wide receiver 1, the reason I've been saying Johnston instead is JSN just would, in my mind, be an overlap with DJ Moore's skill set. Like, I think they wouldn't necessarily complement each other as well as we would want. Whereas Quentin Johnston, I feel like, is just the complete opposite of a DJ Moore, and that is something you'd be excited about. Okay. Mista says Odell to the Jets with Rodgers. That would actually be very interesting. Odell goes back to New York, obviously different team, pairs up with Aaron Rodgers. That I would like that. That'd be exciting. Omid says Trey Lance breaking out this season. I'm praying to God he is, my friend. Most likely not, but very similar to the Alvin Kamara selection at 94. Taking a player just for the 90th percentile outcome here, saying, okay, well, if everything goes right for him, what does his ceiling look like in fantasy football? And if everything goes right for Trey Lance, which it's not likely, but it is possible, he's a top 3 quarterback in the NFL in both rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, and he's surrounded by some of the best weapons and best coaching staff in the NFL as well. Okay. Now, Devin Achane going 109, Pat Freiermuth 108. I actually like the Pat Freiermuth price point. I don't think I've drafted Freiermuth a lot because usually in this range I'm not taking a tight end, but if we're going to be comparing Freiermuth like Evan Ingram at 82, Waller 104, and Njoku 102, I probably prefer Freiermuth. Okay. John says if the Bears won the trade, hit the like button. Yes, if you think the Bears won the trade, make sure you're going down there and hitting the like button, I'd imagine. The majority of people here think that the Bears won the deal. And if you think the Panthers won it, I better hear what your explanation is. I don't think I've heard a single person say that they think the Panthers won this trade up until this point, but I would love to hear your opinion in the comment section. Okay. Now let's move this down. Michael Thomas, 112. Elijah Moore, 113. And yeah, like I said, I mean, I've historically been a Chicago Bears hater. Like, I don't have a favorite NFL team. I don't have any biases. I just find that Bears fans usually are like a little delusional. I don't know if that's the correct word there, but you're not allowed to say anything negative about the Chicago Bears without everybody coming for your head. So usually I don't love rooting and saying, oh, the Bears are doing everything right. But this is something you can't really deny. I mean, it's just a phenomenal move in my mind. A.J. Dillon going 115. It looks like we're probably going to get a quarterback making it back around to us. Daniel Jones was going to be the guy I preferred given the rushing upside. Let's think. Okay, these teams between us are definitely going to be looking to grab QB, so we'll just go ahead and we'll take Russell Wilson here and then see what they do. I think that if we were to pass on to Russ, the probability comes back to us in 123, slim to none, whereas we could actually get that possibility with a couple other players we're looking at on the board right now. Sub says, I live in Illinois. Bears fans are annoying as hell. Yeah. You should see my YouTube comment section and Twitter ads. I mean, yeah, Bears fans have been coming for me for a very long time. Howdy says, Packers are about to be the worst team in the NFC North. I don't know if I'd agree with that, my friend. Let's walk through this. I'm very interested. I want to see these lines when they come out. Okay, let me ask y'all this real quick. 2023, not long term here, but 2023. Who do you think has a better record? The Chicago Bears or Green Bay Packers? I think we got confirmation today that the Packers will not have Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's pretty much guaranteed. Who do you think is a better record? The Chicago Bears upgrading their overall roster to finally give Justin Fields some weapons, or the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers? Let's see. We have Bears, Packers, Bears, Packers, Packers, Bears, Packers, Bears, 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 Bears. So it looks like most people are saying the Chicago Bears. I would actually go out on a limb. I'd say probably the Green Bay Packers, if we're going to be honest. If I had to rank that division, I'd probably go, and I know, okay, here's what people are rooting for. Everybody is loving the Detroit Lions. I understand that. Everybody loves the Lions. Everybody loves the Bears. I don't exactly know why, but it's the way of life. Everybody loves those two guys. Okay. So this is probably unpopular. I'm going Vikings 1. Lions 2. Packers 3. Bears 4. I think this is a phenomenal move for the Bears long term. Justin Fields has been given weapons for him to have a chance to succeed. And while, yes, that chance is now there for the first time of his NFL career, I don't know. Richard says, bookmark this video for 2024. I don't know if that would be easy enough to read the live chat of how. Okay, just let me know, how do you order those 4 teams in the division this upcoming year? Like I said, I'm Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears. Well, let me know where you're going, though. XL says, Bears need a couple years still to be where the Lions are now. That's kind of my thought process, my friend. John says, NFC North might have 3 teams make the playoffs this upcoming season. The Bears aren't making the playoffs. And I understand that this maybe is like seen as a hot take, that I'm some Chicago Bears hater. And like I said, I spent the first 10 minutes giving them the praise they deserve for this trade. Think about it. And I know we have probably a lot of Bears fans here, and I understand Bears fans are crazy. The Bears just earned the number 1 overall pick. They will be better this upcoming season. They will be much better, especially with the trade that they just made. But to have the expectation to go into the season from being the literal worst team in the NFL to being a playoff team because we got some additional assets, it's not realistic. It's not. Essentially, what they just got for 2023 in particular is DJ Moore, and that's about it. They got pick 9. They moved from 1 to 9 to get DJ Moore. Ton of long-term value, picking up the extra first in 2024, picking up the extra second in 2024. But, yeah, the Bears aren't, in my mind, going from the worst team in the NFL to a playoff team. I still think they're the worst team in the division. Like the trade long term, but 2023. Okay, let's see what some opinions are here. Vikings, Lions, Bears, Packers. Packers last. Oh my gosh. Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears. Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears. Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears. Okay, so yeah, that's what everybody thinks. Lions, Vikings. Everybody's thinking the Lions are going to win the division. Interesting. Duke says the Bears just need a consistent tight end and a good a good blocking running back. I will try to say as nicely as possible, my friend, that the Chicago Bears do need significantly more than a better tight end and a running back who can block. You go Alexander Madison, 142. Brandon says the Bears have $75 million to spend now. DJ Moore has a $20 million cap it. Okay, where do you see the Bears spending that $75 million to go from being the worst team in the NFL to a playoff team? I'm not trying to be an ass. It's a serious question. Okay, Taysom Hill goes. I just realized we had Russell Wilson on the team. We should have taken Greg Dulcich. That's on me. That's on me. Yeah, like, which free agents this year are that good? Trip Crown says Darnell Mooney resurgence. I will say, actually, if Darnell Mooney were to be healthy, it does seem like a good fit between Darnell Mooney and, we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Anthony Richardson. Seems like a pretty good fit between Darnell Mooney and DJ Moore. Like Darnell Mooney being that deep threat, Darnell Mooney taking the top off, DJ Moore playing underneath. I actually kind of would like that. Bearded says, are you a Bears fan, Flock? No, I'm not a fan of any NFL team. I started watching the NFL and caring about the NFL back when I was like 8 or 9. And the reason I did it is because I got in a fantasy football league. The reason I got into being a football fan is from fantasy football. I tried being a Tampa fan last year because I lived in Tampa last year, but my brain's so broken because I got into this for fantasy football that it's impossible for me to really root for a team. Snowstorm says we're drafting 6 months early. Yes, if you don't know, this is an underdog draft. This is best ball. So it's no time commitment at all during the season. Last year, I drafted over 700 of these teams. It's a $10 buy-in, $1 million prize pool. You can check it out for free. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100 and available in damn near every state as well. I mean, in my mind, it's literally the most fun thing to do. But I think we've honestly kind of covered pretty much everything that there is to talk about. I do have a ton of work that I need to get to, so probably going to cut this a little bit short. Like I said, very good for the Bears long term. Don't get over your skis. Don't think they're making the playoffs. Don't think they're winning the division. And I have no idea what the Panthers are doing. But thank you again. I truly do appreciate all of you. Really hope that you enjoyed this. Really hope that if you're a Bears fan, you are happy. And yeah, thank you so much again. Appreciate you. And hope we get to see you with the live stream probably on Monday.